It's a Friday edition here on Zero Block 30, and today we have 5 rounds of the magazine. Round number 1, what's up, primals? Every year, there's a new fitness and lifestyle trend that pops up on social media. This year has been the year of my friend and longtime stoolie, the Liver King. Should we start living like our primal ancestors? We're going to get into that in round number 1. Round number 2, the Marine Corps is adding foraging as a course at the basic school. And this couldn't come soon enough because I'm absolutely obsessed with the Liver King, even though Liver King does not eat vegetables. You know what his vegetables are, Kate?
No.
Pork rinds.
For those who don't know, the Liver King is a TikTok.
No, we're going to explain it later. Don't do it now, Katie. Context.
It's the worst.
Don't do it now.
All right.
Okay? Always trying to give context way too early. We want to keep them around. Round number 3, an Air Force major was relieved of command and her actions were so shameful, she might even get a little bit of firewatch added on. Round number 4, how bad are things in the National Guard unit that's deployed to the U.S.-Mexican border? Well, one troop wrote a manifesto. Just kidding. It's just a manifesto. It was and they told us what went down. One of the best reporting jobs I've ever seen from the Navy Times, Marine Times, like the Times of whatever branch it is. Just an outstanding job, very in depth to give you an idea of what's going on, including, did you know that they made 1.6 million arrests at the Mexican border last year?
No.
What?
1.6 million arrests at the border.
That's absurd. I didn't realize the number was that high.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about that in round number 4. Round number 5, President Biden put on his big boy pants with old President Putin this week. And the beating of the war drums from, it seems like both sides are, they're ready to go. We talked just last week of when we thought it was going to be ready, when America was going to be ready for war again. Yeah. We said 15 years. Turns out it's 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 seconds, 15 minutes.
We're ready again.
We're good ready again. Good to go.
Another that we have no idea. I bet, what do you think percentages of Americans, if you pulled up a borderless map, like without the actual nations on it, could point out where Ukraine was?
Oh, Ukraine? Forget it. That's less than 5%.
We were there for over 20 years. I would bet like 98% of people in this country couldn't point out Afghanistan or Iraq.
I would bet further than that, if you had a borderless map that doesn't have everything written on it, I would bet 60-70% of troops couldn't correctly identify Afghanistan or Iraq.
Higher than that.
Probably one of them.
I would say 90% had no idea where they were going to when they got on that plane.
If you gave me a borderless map,
we need to do that as we need to do that as a quiz just to show how unbelievably stupid we all are.
Yes.
Because none of us would do. I am very confident that when you got to the Eastern Bloc, we might do okay in Europe. Like if you're talking about England and Spain and Portugal, we might do okay there. Once you start going Lithuania, Turkey, Georgia, and all those other spots, everybody is going to mess it up. Everybody. I would say we probably can't even do America.
I was just thinking, if you gave me a borderless map of America and did not give me all 50 state names either, and I had to just write where I thought each state was, I'd fuck it up so bad, especially all those square states out in the West.
Oh, yeah. Get Colorado and New Mexico, get them out of here.
Get out.
Even though I love Colorado, and I don't have anything personally against New Mexico, but still. Even though it makes more sense to have states that were shaped like Colorado, and New Mexico.
Yes.
Because if you look at our states and our maps and cities, there was a thing that came out recently about all the different state legislatures that are doing their redistricting for maps.
Yes.
All of these districts look insane. And then you go to some of the ones that are like the New Englands of the world or New York City, where the city was mapped out and it makes sense, like on an actual grid. When did we decide that that wasn't a good idea anymore?
I'm not sure, but I do think for a lot of states, there are natural borders, which is where they place the border. For instance, between Pennsylvania and New Jersey, the Delaware River. That makes sense. But yeah, you get to some of these square states, it's just like they're like, hey, all right, the square makes sense here. Doesn't. Like
the Rio Grande. That's a good little natural barrier.
Yeah, they should have done more natural barriers. But I guess in the face of adversity, when you have no natural barriers, you just got to get creative.
Got to draw a line.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out Idaho.
No, Idaho.
Weirdos looking there. If you want to check out the maps while getting a little coffee, I would do it with Black Rifle Coffee, my friend. They're the best coffee in the biz. If you haven't tried it yet, make sure that you do so. You can go to blackriflecoffee.com and join their Coffee of the Month Club, which is a fantastic deal. You can get all kinds of stuff with it, including some of their brand new brews whenever those comes out, and they're made and roasted all across the United States, particularly in Tennessee and Utah. And they are dog friendly. We got tagged in a picture the other day. Their puppuccinos look way better than what Starbucks offers. Way better.
Absolutely.
Any spot that you can go in there with a Black Rifle Coffee pup and just have a little cup of puppuccino, you got to do that. Go to blackriflecoffee.com/0. You can be a part of their Buy a Bag, Give a Bag program where they're giving coffee to all kinds of first responders and military. They've given away 6 million cups of coffee to date. Again, that's blackriflecoffee.com/0. Use the promo code 0 today to get the freshest coffee in America shipped to you. Lots of things going on in my neck of the woods, one of which is I'm back in tool mode, back in longtime toolies. I dropped one, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, where, there you go. Should have known. Should have known. So I got a couple things. One, can I tell you about it? Oh, God. Here we go. Every time. All right, so I got this little tool, and it is a digital measurer. It's a digital measurer.
Kate
ruined it. Kate ruined my whole
Okay.
story.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, I don't even want to tell you guys.
You have a
Fuck it.
digital
I'm not even
measure.
telling you guys.
You have a
but
digital
there's two other
measure.
things, so you're completely missing out on one, so nobody's ever going to know about a digital measure.
Wow.
Two, I have been, a couple weeks ago, I told you guys how I really love the Chip and Joanna show, like on Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
Where she bakes stuff, he cooks and cleans and does all kinds of stuff. They had this huge cutting board that's like 2 inches thick. It's like 3 feet long. It's just enormous, and it never gets put away. It's always on their counter, ingrained. It's beautiful. I wanted one so bad after watching it, and I've been looking, and I finally pulled the trigger on Black Friday. Found one that I really liked. It was made of maple and mahogany, just absolutely gorgeous. It gets here today. It was delayed. It was supposed to get here yesterday. Gets here today. I open up the package. This thing that is huge, and it was expensive. Broken in half.
Oh, no.
Completely straight down the middle. The box was fine. Nothing was wrong with the box. Completely snaps in the middle.
That's kind of surprising because you're talking about
all the way through, and it had like unbelievable reviews, and they kiln dried it. Like I made sure that everything was going to be, because this is something you pay so much money, you want it to last like 30, 40 years.
Right.
It's like a lifetime cutting board. It's not a plastic one. And I pulled it out. I was legitimately crushed. It got here at 9 o'clock this morning. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That was bad. Third thing, because Kate ruined the digital measure.
But she did the full song, so
that cutting board was like, I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. And so the last one, we have the huge tailgate that we're doing. We have the huge Barstool Sportsbook deal that we're going right now. If you're living in any of the states that the Barstool Sportsbook is legal, make sure that you're betting, because if you're a new customer, anything up to $100 is going to get matched by Penn National and the Barstool Sportsbook. So if you bet $100, $100 is going to go to the Semper Fi Fund and to Fisher House, 50 to each. Well, they're happy to be a part of that. I need to show you guys something. I told you before we started recording, I have something to show.
Yes.
Because typically when an organization like Fisher House or Semper Fi Fund will send you something, it's lovely. It's like a hat or a shirt or something like that with their branding on it, which you appreciate, like you do this in this business, you give them something, they give some, it's nice. They went so far above what I had anticipated whenever I gave them my address. Look at this. A fucking whoopee, dude.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The Semper Fi Fund. Like, not little. Huge.
That's
Look how big it is.
So
I actually just saw Dave.
yeah,
Portnoy.
Dave got one, and he walks up to me. He goes, "Cons, what the heck is this?"
What is
and I
this
was like,
thing?
"Dave, my word, you are in for a treat, sir. That is a whoopee."
I
That is
didn't
a
hear him
coveted
say
piece
that.
of
I just
gear.
saw him walking across the office holding a whoopee, and I was like, someone's getting ready for Army Navy. He's gonna be snug as a bug in a rug.
Look at this thing,
It's
guys.
beautiful.
Just such a delight. And they sent a couple like Yeti lowball ramblers. They just really hooked it up. I was shocked. I love a good whoopee.
That's
love
awesome. But yeah, give the Semper Fi Fund and the Fisher House Foundation follows on Insta and Twitter and all that good stuff.
Great
Wonderful.
activation. If you've been waiting to pull the trigger, to bet responsibly on the Barstool Sportsbook app, now is the time.
And again, this goes today. Well, if
Through
you're
Monday.
listening, through Monday. It goes all the way through Monday. So, like, literally, new customers up to $100.
And it doesn't
any bet.
have to just be the Army-Navy game.
Yeah,
Right.
anything.
Yeah,
You can bet any
anything.
wager.
Any game.
Yep.
Any game across. If you want to do NASCAR, if you want to do MMA, because there's a UFC fight this weekend. Anything that you're interested in sports-wise, if it's on the Barstool Sportsbook, that counts if you're a new customer. So
Yeah,
you can
it's
bet.
awesome.
Speaking of
Anywhere,
fighting,
do
we
whatever.
have, as you're listening tonight, we have a Rough and Rowdy, huge Rough and
16th
Rowdy.
one, I think.
Shout
So,
out Trailer Park. Hopefully Trailer Park gets back on the right side of things again.
Yep.
Jeff
Jeff
Nadeau
Nadeau.
versus Jersey Jerry. Who do you guys like in that fight?
And they really hate each other. They
You
really
know-
hate each other.
They really
yeah, I think there is some serious animosity there for sure. I
Jersey
don't know.
Jerry, of course. He's a
do.
dude
Yeah,
dad.
I mean, after watching the 2 fight clips, I don't know how you go with Nadeau to do on that one.
A little
I
slow
just
Yeah.
on the punch.
feet a little
No
slow.
McMap
but-
training.
But nevertheless, it's not just one fight, as we know. It's plenty of. Good
I will
fights.
say Nadeau to do. One thing about him that I've noticed is that although he is kind of hot-headed and gets mad quickly, he seems to be able to control it more.
Yes.
Jerry seems to go, when he is angry, he goes high into the right and goes a little bit out of control. So if that's the case and Nadeau to do can last longer than the
Yes.
first 30, 45 seconds, I think that Nadeau to do could work his way back into the fight.
That's a
and
great
have a better
analysis,
chance.
Chaps.
Sometimes slow is smooth and smooth is fast, my friends.
That's
and I
correct.
also
That's
feel
exactly
like
right.
Nadeau has that thick Homer Simpson head that can really take a beating.
Yeah.
Like our ancestors did.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
correct.
A little
Which
Cro-Magnon-y.
brings us
No.
into
Which
round
brings
number
us
Buy
to
one.
round number
rnr.com. Yeah.
So I have been knee deep all yesterday, basically. I'll be honest, I took a little bit of my medical
We know you
marijuana
did. Mhm.
yesterday. I was having a great time. I've been watching them from afar for a bit. I've been watching the Liver King for a bit. Now, the Liver King, in case you don't live on TikTok like I do now, Liver King is this guy that looks like a 1987 WCW wrestler. He looks like he is juiced to the absolute gills. And he claims to be all natural, like only taking liver and kidney and eating raw stomach and raw testicles. And he lives by this primal method that he has, like an ancestral type of fitness. It's like taking the keto diet or keto diet and going that times a million.
Yeah, he's an American bodybuilder. His real name is Brian Johnson, and he calls it ancestral living. And it's a paleo lifestyle that includes hunting, gathering, and eating as little processed food as possible. And
Except for pork rinds.
Yes.
Except for pork rinds.
That's
The
very
things he
processed.
chooses to eat, the way his body looks, which is like, it's like, okay, he's buff, but he's also very swollen.
Yes.
There's a lot
Dude,
of swelling.
I haven't come across very many women or men in my day that really find that look appealing.
No,
Like,
not at
most
all.
women, when you see a dude that looks like that looks like him, or maybe like a Ronnie Coleman or like a professional bodybuilder, is that something to you that's attractive?
Now, I'm kind of a weird lady anyway, so what I find attractive, like my first crush in middle
Bear
school
in mind
was
that you had a baby with the beef.
with a man who has a mullet, and yeah, absolutely.
Hair everywhere.
Yeah, hair everywhere. He's but no, I when I see a guy that's super fit and who like shaves his body, like when I see bodybuilder types, I think that guy doesn't have time for me. That
Not
guy
only that, that
only
guy
has
doesn't have-
time for himself.
He doesn't have time for fun. Because
Yeah.
I think to look like that, you have to live such a strict lifestyle. Certainly some people are genetically very gifted, but even to that extent, you have to pay attention to everything. How much sleep, what you're drinking, no booze. Everything comes into
Going
play.
to bed on time
Yeah.
every fucking day.
I want somebody
That's
who's
not
going
a
to
life
sneak
I
out
wanna
of the
live.
wedding reception with me to smoke a doink and a cigarette, and
Yeah.
then we're going to like
Have a
Whataburger
cheesy
afterwards.
Gordita Crunch on the
yeah,
side.
exactly. I need that's the kind of person I want in my life. And also, then that person clearly has
Don't you
very.
dare call an Egg McMuffin a cheat day, you piece of shit.
I know. Well, that person clearly has like high standards for themselves. And so then I'm like, oh no, are they going to have standards for me? Because I'm not
And they're-
meeting them. Mm-mm.
And there is that aspect of it. And I think Khan's looking through it this morning and prep for the show, saw some things that he liked. And there is aspects in people who join the military that I feel like these types of diet really appeal to, because you want to do something that is a little bit more difficult than what normal people would be doing. You want to be able to point to these crazy ideas of fitness and how strict you're going to be with it and just prove to somebody else, because everybody knows people in their unit that went to like a battalion meeting and they are carrying a gallon of water that has like marks on it of where they need to be. Don't be a little bitch. Time to stop being a pussy and down some water. Like everybody has that. I feel like this guy is taking it to a whole new level. And further, if I stumbled across the Liver King when I first got out of the Marine Corps,
oh, that would have been
buddy,
you, Chaps.
I'd have had a belly full of beef testicle.
Yep.
Like just eating it up.
Yeah. And it's not just that, his workouts too. He will go for a 1 mile walk, but wearing like 40-pound weights on each ankle.
No, it's not 40 pounds. I watched it this morning to see what it was. So his workout when he goes for these simulated hunts, a simulated failed hunt, will be 40-pound weights on 20 on each foot, on each ankle. Then he wears a 70-pound rucksack. Then in each hand, he carries a 70-pound kettlebell while he's walking, and then drags a 140-pound sled while he's doing it. So in total, he's dragging around like 300 pounds, which simulates what it would be like if you were dragging a deer out of the woods.
And he's doing this like on his little Texas farm where his wife hides like kibble in the trees, right? And that's he goes and finds the kibble for himself.
I didn't realize
like,
he was married.
I think.
Oh yeah, he's got the liver queen.
Is she a bodybuilder as well?
I'm not sure, but they have like it seems like a caveman type relationship.
Yeah, because I mean,
she like prepares these. Because if this is something like Cons likes this, let's say Cons decides he wants to start doing some ancestral living, there is less than 0% chance Alex helps him in this endeavor.
In no way.
Yeah,
in
never.
no way would
None.
she do this.
If Cons was like, I need you to put 48 fermented chicken eggs into shot glasses so I can drink them all in a row, Alex would tell Cons to go fuck himself.
Do you know how many times I will eat something and she looks at me and says, "Oh, you're disgusting. I can't believe you would eat that." So, and that's just normal everyday food. So if I came home with the Liver King diet, she would just probably kick me out. And
I want to get into what some of these tenets are, because the tenets are important and some of them aren't terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's the case with a lot of these diets, that on the surface it's fine.
Right.
But then once it's essentially like religion. Like if you take it on its face value of what it was meant to be, great. But then you go a whole new level into it, and that's when you become fucked up. So he has 9 of these tenets. The first one is sleep. He said the first ancestral tenet is sleep because it trumps everything else. It's time when the body and brain detox, recover, rebuild, and restore. We can go many months without food. Parenthetical citation, look it up. Only a few weeks without water, but a few days without sleep before we die. To improve your sleep, get early morning sun exposure at the same time every day to regulate your sleep and wake cycles. Finish your last meal 3 to 4 hours before bed. Enjoy the warmth of the sunset as the final environmental cue that the day is winding down. And then put on a pair of blue light blocking glasses so the blue light from your phone or artificial lights don't trick your brain into thinking it's daytime all over again. Start sleeping like our early ancestors did and build your biological resilience. I like that one.
Top to bottom, I think
like that's
good.
one you could do.
Yes, absolutely. Might be a little harder for this one with a little one running around.
Yeah,
but
we have kids that's out the window. But
our ancestors, they had babies too.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and they were probably up all night in the caves, afraid that the baby's gonna wake everybody else in the cave, and they're gonna get kicked out of the cave and shit.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not.
That's offensive, Kate. Just assuming that all ancestors live in a cave. That's very problematic.
All right. What's the next one? Yeah, sleep's out for me. That's
so you're not you. I thought sleep was one that we all. Well, I should have known, but I thought that sleep was one that we could all get behind.
I'm a night owl. I always have been, and I've hit a new plane the last like 4 days where I just don't need sleep anymore.
Yeah.
When I tell you I haven't had 2 consecutive hours of sleep in like a year, probably. I'm now I'm probably on 30 minutes.
Can I tell you?
I'm doing great.
Last night I was so tired.
She needs to go to a spa.
Yeah, she does. She needs a weekend to herself.
Mm-hmm.
I last night fell asleep by myself without like really forcing it at 10 o'clock. I woke up this morning, no alarm, at 5:30 and felt wildly refreshed. I wish I did that every day.
Yeah. Normally he forces sleep. He lays there and he goes.
Yes, that's what I do.
And then you just pass out. See, that would be awesome. That would be a great invention. If you guys had the opportunity, you could put a chip like in your brain where you could just shut it down. Because I also saw TikTok. Did you guys know that there's people that don't have internal monologues all the time?
No, I just assumed we all did. Like I'm having one right now.
What do you mean they don't?
Almost 50% of the population doesn't have resting thoughts. Like when you're just like moving around and having a conversation with yourself in your head, they don't have that.
I don't. What then do they do? What do they think about?
I have no idea. Like I didn't know that those people exist. And this woman was explaining it, and she was like, "Yeah, I talk to my friends, and whenever they're sitting at a restaurant and they're sitting alone, they're having like conversations with themselves, like looking around and like what they see, and they're like thinking about stuff." She's like, "I don't have that. When I'm sitting, I'm just essentially sitting." And I thought, how beautiful would that be, just to be so simple? Where you're just sitting.
Not me. I'm too advanced.
That'd be very nice.
You are very advanced.
Wow.
Second tenet, eat. The second intestinal tenet is eat, because we've evolved eating the whole animal, nose to tail, horns to hooves. In the modern world, we choose processed food and muscle meats over the most nourishing, nutritious, dense bits like liver and bone marrow. These foods we evolved with over 2 million years are the same foods that we still expect today to heal and be healthy. So drop the processed foods, the seed oils, and the liquid calories, and start incorporating whole foods, liver, bone marrow, heart, and bone soups into your primal fare to express the best version of yourself. We are descendants of the genus Homo. In other words, the baddest mammal predators that ever lived. I honor their legacy by putting back in what the modern world has left out. This is precisely why I eat like our early ancestor did, the whole animal. In the modern world, we choose processed foods like muscle meats, neglecting the most nutrient-dense organs like liver and bone marrow, the foods we evolved with. You said the same thing there, Guy.
Yeah, you said the same paragraph twice. Now listen, my first reaction to this is, how do you know? How do you know the ancient man was sitting there and was nibbling on some hooves? My good man, he doesn't know that.
Well, they probably did eat everything because it like food was scarce. Like they had to really go for it.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like
I don't know.
But I like eating. I like using every part of the animal because I feel like we are incredibly wasteful, and so I get that. I don't hate that. This one I'm
some of these are okay though. Like I don't know about heart. I've never had. Actually,
but
no,
he
I've had
does
chicken
everything
hearts.
raw. Like the liver, he does it raw and puts it in like maple syrup.
Sure.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm out. Nah.
And then the other day, he did one where he just had 3 piles of salt, where he was doing like a 50-hour fast. And in order to make himself feel like he wasn't hungry, he ate a couple teaspoons of salt.
That's
And again,
weird.
Chaps, I've seen you bring up a good point a couple times. Like, yes, that's very good of you to be doing that stuff, but our ancestors only lived to be like 22.
right.
So I don't know.
So
how
why are they the
healthy-
smart ones when their
A lot
life
of food
expectancy was a
poisoning,
third?
A lot of
Yeah.
a lot
And
of
so many people that I guess are buying into this were like, oh, it's because infant mortality. The life expectancy of adults was so low because infant mortality.
What does that have to do with
up,
it? That
dude.
doesn't make
No,
any sense.
No.
No, you fucking, if you got cut on a tree, you died because you couldn't get like any type of penicillin or anything. It's just, that type of shit is just ridiculous. The next tenet is, okay, so we have 3. Which one are we on?
Move.
So we are on, move, yeah. So this one, a mismatch between our ancestors and modern environments in terms of physical activity and natural movement comes to mind as being almost as big of a mismatch as is diet. That's why the third ancestral trait is move. What you do with your body is just as important as what you put into it. In maintaining a healthy level of movement, one develops a healthy approach to consumption where instincts become far more identifiable and beneficial. The well-being that builds up from balanced movement trumps the need for consumption-based satisfaction such as food, painkillers, alcohol, drugs, etc. This is how I do it. The first thing in the morning, I walk for 30 minutes. That's my cup of coffee. Every afternoon, I walk for 30 minutes. That's my afternoon nap. After dinner, our tribe walks in the rain, snow, or shine for 30 minutes. It's just one foot in the other every day. Try it. Comfort is not good for the organism. It's just not my opinion. It's fact.
So part of this is
your
cool.
Opinion. But
Part of
yes,
this is cool because
I
he's
like
like,
that.
the only exercise you need to do is 3 walks a day. Like, I think a lot of people would sign up for that. Now, on the other side of it, and you look at all the science behind the last 30 years, 40 years, the way we've evolved to better understand the body and the better way to train. There's a reason like Tom Brady is 43 or 44, however old he is, and still able to play in the NFL. It's because of all the advances in science. Like if Tom Brady was just doing 3 walks a day, hate to tell you, he wouldn't still be in the NFL. And I know Tom Brady's an extreme example because he has the means to adhere to that lifestyle that he leads. But still, I think...
Well, it's the same argument when you talk about basketball. Like when you say, oh, the 80s basketball players were tougher. Maybe 5% of the NBA in 1985 makes the NBA today. Maybe 5%.
You're right. And also, when you look at old clips of the NBA or NFL and just the sheer size of the people playing the sport compared to today, you can't tell me that there's not advances in science and exercise.
Imagine putting fucking Myles Garrett at right end, right defensive end, whenever Army was winning national championships.
Are you kidding me? They would have been outlawed. They would have been not allowed to play.
It would have been like, this guy's a freak. He's killing people.
Yeah, he would have put people in the hospital.
I will say, as someone who suffers from the Great Depression, getting outside and going for walks is a great way to reset your brain a little bit. And so I can see that being very helpful.
That part is definitely
beneficial.
beneficial.
This one I'm fully in on.
Yeah,
I'm fully in on
walks.
this one.
I'm cool with the
Yeah,
walks.
I'm just saying, I think he's selling everything a little short here, saying all you need to do is just move for 30 minutes 3 times a day. I think that's...
But that's a great start, though.
That is.
And if
You're
you
right.
do that,
We'll
if
give
you
him
do
that.
3 30-minute walks a day, that's a great start.
True, because, I mean, a 30-minute walk, you're going maybe like a mile and a half, give or take, right? So, I mean...
So walking 5 miles a day?
I think
bad.
that's good, because I would say vast majority of people definitely don't walk anywhere near 5 miles a day.
Oh, I haven't walked 5 miles in probably 5 months.
Yeah. What's the next
cruise
one?
around my house. The next one's shield. The 4th ancestral tenet is shield because we need to avoid dangers like our early ancestors did. But instead of running away from lions, nowadays we need to be running away from seed oil, fluoride, excessive Wi-Fi, electromagnetic fields.
Fluoride? I've been giving my son
fillings.
fluoride drops every day. What?
Oh, there's a lot of people out there that are really anti-fluoride.
What?
Oh yeah,
What-
they think
My
that it's real bad for
pediatrician
you.
gave it to me.
They hate
it's
big
because
toothpaste?
it's good for you and it's science-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I'm out on.
Mercury fillings, perfumes, and plastic. To view the list of modern-day dangers, go to liverking.com/shield. Dangers like these end up compounding, and with an addictive effect, they disrupt our hormones, metabolism, and ability to get deep sleep.
And they make
Start
those
with turning off
frogs
your
gay.
Wi-Fi. That's true. Turn off your Wi-Fi and stop wearing perfume. Now, this one, he goes further in because I remember him saying that he doesn't brush his teeth and he doesn't bathe. The only thing
No, hold on. He
is...
gets into that one in one of the other tenets. He talks about it more.
Okay, good.
This is beyond.
That part was
that
super
was
interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So how do we feel about Shield? I think I'm out on Shield.
I'm out on Shield.
Yeah, I don't think I need to be in on Shield either. I just don't think there's a need for not wearing perfume or cologne. Like, well, who doesn't want to smell nice?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
I
really
want to smell nice.
Right.
The 5th one is connect, because our early ancestors were in constant contact with the earth 24/7, 365. The earth has a slightly negative charge, which provides a grounding force for our electrophysiology. With the advent of rubber shoes, cars, houses, and elevated beds, we no longer come in contact with this grounding force. Think about it. When was the last time you had your bare feet planting on the earth for any real duration? The benefits include better sleep, improved blood pressure, anti-inflammatory, and protection against EMFs. All you have to do is take your shoes off and put your bare feet on the earth or hug a tree. Start with 10 minutes and pay attention to how you feel.
I recently saw a TikTok where this woman was like, are you depressed? Are you this or that? Do you want to reconnect with the earth, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what she does. She posted a video of herself doing it when she's on her period. She puts on a skirt, no underpants. Okay. She goes out
Snail
into
trail around her yard.
She goes out into the grass, squats down, swirls her hips, and is like, I'm perioding all over the yard right now, and I feel so connected to the earth.
Okay.
And now I live in an apartment. So
I still think you got to do it.
I pretty much, I have a small patio that I've been doing it on, and it's a mess. It's terrible. But I do
like
feel more
painting.
connected to the earth.
I don't know. I guess maybe I walk around barefoot a lot in the summer, so I'm trying to think if
There
I
is
do
something
sleep
nice
better in the summer.
About going outside barefoot, like
Yeah.
when the grass is
Yeah.
freshly mowed,
Uh-huh.
and you could just sit there with like a beer and enjoy it. Like that is a nice moment.
Yes.
You know
So
where one of the best places to be barefoot is? A golf course. Yup.
Oh, yeah.
Walking around a golf course on that manicured grass barefoot is a treat. Try it if
Yeah,
you've never
you
done
don't
it.
even have to worry about like bugs getting up
Right,
on you or
like
nothing.
random sticks or twigs. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
connect.
kind of in on this one.
All right, this next one. This one might be like wealth privilege a little bit because this dude is wealthy as fuck.
Yeah,
like
clearly.
his house
Obviously.
is enormous. He's got like 2
Time out.
ranches.
Tell me, explain to me, how is he wealthy? Because he wasn't always the liver king. So where did he make his wealth? Do you know?
It has to be inherited, I would imagine.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
that makes sense.
Somehow, or maybe
Or
as a bit,
throughout his life.
I mean, he's a really well-spoken and smart guy.
I was
Like
gonna
he
say.
That,
comes
like-
off as pretty smart.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what, Chaps? That makes so much sense because to come up with all this bullshit, you got to just grow up with no responsibility and just like, you know what? I'm going to connect with the earth and stuff.
He
And he's-
says in one of the things that his dad was a veteran.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
His dad was in the army, and he's a Texas guy.
I assume too, like this is getting a huge following. If he looks the way he looks and he's saying it confidently enough, he knows that people will flock to him. And so I'm sure
Absolutely.
he knows how much money he can make off people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Oh, I'm sure it's
Smart
been
man.
immense.
I'm sure
it's
he's
been immense.
crushing it. Yeah.
The next one is cold. Comfort is not good for the organism. It's kind of weird how he calls himself the organism. This is why the 6th ancestral tenet is
It's almost
get
like
cold.
the Predator.
Yeah.
Right. No one likes this uncomfortable, frigid feeling that comes with the cold, especially when we have access to one 24/7. In modern times, we simply put on some clothes, turn up the heater, or we avoid the cold altogether by staying inside. Our early ancestors were regularly subjected to cold. It was the purpose built for it. It was like the purpose we were built for it. We have a brown tissue with the metabolically active thermoregulation. We
Sure.
also have 60,000 miles of vascular culture lie with smooth muscles. Our potential for strength and health remains encoded in our DNA, and under certain conditions.
Okay,
we
so
can, like what this
a
guy
lot
is
of big words,
basically
dude.
doing, he's doing fitness version of NFL draft talk.
Yes.
Is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's just throwing out some words like buzzwords. Like it's the same thing as if I'm evaluating a quarterback and say he's got great arm talent, he stays in the pocket. I'm just saying a bunch of
as a
catchphrases.
depressure again, though, I will say the cold, going for walks in the cold, and
Yeah.
dipping your head in cold water sometimes, a couple times, kind of resetting yourself a little bit. I think there's something to that.
I do like
But-
when I go for runs outside in the winter because the cold air in your lungs feels different.
Yeah.
I
Tastes
do-
like blood a little bit. Really
Yeah,
exciting.
I feel like my ancestors when
Yeah,
I run in the
absolutely.
cold at night and just use my senses to find my way around my neighborhood.
Plus-
He takes it to a whole nother level though. He'll be doing that movement where he does like 250 pounds or whatever, and then he'll fill up his hot tub with a shit ton of ice bags and sitting there with the timer for 30 minutes and talk about how primal he is.
Well,
Right.
so I'll defend him here because, as we know, plenty of athletes use cold baths to recover
Oh, yeah.
after activity. So there's some truth to this one.
Mm-hmm. All right, the 7th one is the sun, because our ancestors didn't brush, didn't floss, didn't get cavities. At the heart of this tenet is the midday sun exposure because it produces vitamin D, which work synergetically with other fat-soluble vitamins A and K. This system enables us to remineralize our teeth, support our key metabolic factors, improve energy metabolism, and optimize immunity.
Okay,
Look
so
to
Translation.
Yeah, so he sits out in the sun with his teeth out. He goes like, that's at noon. He's like, eh.
Translation: you get some sun, you
Is that what
don't
he
need to
does?
brush your teeth.
This is like the
He says
woman
it at
who
the
put her
end.
asshole, the sun in her asshole, remember?
Yeah, it was our balls.
Well, she also, no, the woman who would get
No,
up
it
on
was,
the...
yeah, sun in your butthole. And another guy said that if you want to up your T levels, you can sun your balls.
Right.
So the last thing he says, if you want fresh breath, brush your teeth. If you want oral health, a lean body, and all-day energy, nourish your body with sun, liver, and bone marrow.
This guy's breath has to be so fucking bad.
Yes, especially
So
when you consider
fucking
what
bad.
he's eating. Yeah, no, I'm out on this one.
There's no way, if I don't care what they do, if I was also with a liver king, there's no way you're going to Clam Town. I don't want that anywhere near my lady bits.
I mean,
the pH
I don't
is
want to be
sensitive.
crass. I don't want to be
don't-
crass. You know I'm against being crass.
You are
You
very well
never
against
be
that.
crass.
You're on record as such.
This dude must have the smelliest cum of all time.
It's got to be, yes.
His cum must come out smelling like garbage juice.
I'd say like clam chowder stirred with old mulch mixed with like a little bit of diaper juice.
And it's got to
Yeah.
come out because all he eats is meats and stuff. It's got to come out like really thick old toothpaste, like toothpaste that was in a time capsule from 1978 that
Yeah.
you just dug up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to brush your teeth, ladies and gentlemen. 2 times a day minimum, brushing your teeth. It's important.
Yeah, say brush
Unless
and
you're
floss.
having a baby, then you can get away with a couple months.
Sometimes I don't.
No, but all right. So for this one, I do
Dumb piece of
agree.
shit.
It is good. If you've been inside for a few days, you need to get outside and get some sun. Just some natural light, I think, is very
in your
healthy.
anus,
Yes.
in your butthole.
Yeah,
Sure.
you gotta sun the
Sun
old
your
anus.
sphincter.
And the 8th one is fight. Because our ancestors evolved fighting, hunting, protecting, struggling, persevering, and winning. All when we win, we get rewarded with a boost of dopamine, androgens. Is that what that is? Androgens?
Yeah. I don't know what
And-
an androgen is, but it sounds cool.
and more things that cultivate such behavior. Androgens also help us win. In modernity, there's not a lot of natural opportunities for primals to put themselves in harm's way, to overcome real struggle, to really fight for something of value. I believe for us primals to really thrive, we have to possess a type of high courage to continue to fight for something meaningful, to foster an inner fire, to take real risk, and to continue to create ways to win. This is how we avoid falling into a rut, looking for opportunities that scare the shit out of you.
So he wants you to put yourself regularly in life-threatening situations, is what he's saying.
I think this is why he does the simulated hunts.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes
put
I
himself out
picture
there.
like my Irish ancestors. They're out in the peat bog all day. It's fucking freezing. The food is scarce. Somebody kills a rabbit with a slingshot. Thank God. They like barely are splitting it. At night, it's soggy, rainy. They're barely made. They're freezing their asses off. I wonder if they see me order Uber Eats McDonald's from halfway down the block. You know?
Yeah.
If they're like, we did that for this.
Really?
Like, this was what that came to.
Yep.
I do think there's something to like on the days of my jobs that were like in the Marine Corps when we had like physically active days. At the end of the day, you do feel good. It's hard, but you feel good.
Yeah.
Like
I agree. You can physically challenge yourself in different ways, but you don't have to make it life-threatening the way he's talking about it here.
yeah, interesting.
You
And
don't
the
need to instill
last-
fear in yourself.
And the last one that he has is what Kate was talking about at the end of the day with your troops. It's bonding.
Yeah, I
it's
like this
having
one.
that tribe. I think that one does make a lot of sense. He said, since our inception in our species, we belong to a far greater purpose. You'd be hard pressed to find things more primal than that purpose itself. Purpose was guarding the perimeter from danger to protect one's tribe. Purpose was hunting and foraging to feed one's tribe. Purpose was building, tool making, and weapon making for shelter for one's tribe. It's doing things for others. I like that one.
I do
I
too.
think all of these, if you do them in moderation and you don't become
Yes.
a crazy person, they would all be beneficial.
So actually, the last sentence here I think is really good, and it's something I wish I could do better. Start by simply putting away the phones and just spend time with loved ones and friends.
That's
Yeah, but
not-
then sometimes when you do that, you realize how boring they are.
that's true.
Well, I guess
That's
find better
true.
family and friends then, if that's the case.
That's with the baby though. Like it's so easy when you have a little baby to like plop them down something and then be on your phone and keep on. And like I have a rule now where I put my phone away when I hang out with the baby. I don't, and I find like, oh my God, you're just so, I don't know. It's a totally different. It is good to put your phone the fuck away.
I agree. I wish I wasn't so
And-
wired right now to pick up my phone and look at it at the amount of time
I leave it in
that
the
I
living
do.
room at night now when I go to sleep.
I'm trying to get
I
better
try and
about
keep it
putting
away
it.
from
If I
me.
put it in a different room and like try to read or do something, that helps. If you put it in a different room, because if it's
Yeah.
there and it flashes, you're gonna look. It's just natural.
Yeah.
So we're all right. So overall,
Can I say one other thing about this guy?
yeah, and then I want to ask
Because
something
you're like,
about
oh,
him.
some of these things sound normal, but some of his tweets are insane.
Oh, we didn't even get into it.
Here we go. This is from Liver King here. Just made a primal pie in Liver Queen, and I'm going to take it out and eat it with a spoon after it bakes for a while because we earned it after today's successful simulated hunt. Here's another one. Primals. I just drank my own piss straight from the well. Liver King out. Middle of the night. Liver King here. What a strange, strange man. Primals don't get vaccines. We die young like our ancestors. Wait a minute. This is Chaps' Twitter I'm looking at here. What the hell is this?
Yeah, I want to become the Liver King. I honestly, what if we did it? Can we take, let's say, 2 weeks? Or no, a
Chaps-
week. Let's do a week where the whole squad is just eating nothing but testicles.
All right, we'll see if we can scrounge up some testicles at the local farmers
Talk to
market.
Vibbs. I'm sure he has some.
Yeah, he might. He
Liver
might.
King here. Just practiced ritualistic jujitsu on my own testicles, thereby breaking my 6-day cum fast. Like our primitive ancestors, I choked myself to orgasm while snorting lines of dehydrated placenta. Liver King out. Yeah, that sounds right. That
right,
sounds
so
right. Yeah, we'll do that.
Two things.
That sounds good.
Two things. I just, Liver King, just come out and tell us how much HGH you take as well. In addition to all of this, how much HGH you take, because I need to know.
But
But
he's likable too, though. I hate
Yeah.
that I like him. I don't know.
What was shocking to me after learning about all the tenants. Not a vaccine guy. Shocker.
Yeah, no
Big
way.
Shocker
No.
there. He's like, I'm not going to get the jab.
Yeah.
So, all right, overall, to
Yeah,
wrap this thing up,
not a thing for Liver King.
to wrap this up, where are we on the Liver King overall? Kate?
I gotta say, I am out. This is another thing, like, when we interviewed Jocko Willink, and I was like, he's gonna hate me.
Yes.
Nicest guy on the planet, but,
Yeah.
like, we would just never mesh. Sorry, we're not meant to be pals.
Okay.
Like, I'm too much of a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel the same way here. For those reasons, I'm out. I couldn't survive in his world.
Chaps?
I'm gonna answer it from all three of the people that are inside my brain.
Okay.
Pastor Chaps, Staff Sergeant Cothran, and now Chaps.
Okay.
I'm going to say Pastor me would have hated because he's misguided because the earth was only 6,000 years old. So this million-year ancestor thing is bullshit.
Right.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Staff Sergeant me would have been all in.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been eating cow heart and all kinds
You
of
would
shit.
have had Liver
raw.
King PT for your guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd have set it all out in front of the Marines and been like, look, pussies, this is what we eat now.
I promise
And then-
you, almost every battalion in the Marine Corps has one guy at least doing this right now, who's
If
like
not,
out in the
give
smoke
it 3
pit
weeks
eating
and
a
there will
raw.
be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They will be.
And wait till they start, and then they're gonna go overboard and and they're gonna start eating raw chicken and shit.
Yeah.
And then the Marine Corps is gonna have to issue some sort of a letter.
Well, the
saying,
one that I posted
Please
last
don't.
night, where he pulls back the membrane
Yeah.
of the cow testicle and takes the sound that it makes when he
She might
chews
throw up.
through that fucking nut is just so unbelievably unique. That sound doesn't exist anywhere on planet Earth. And you could tell when it just crisps right through his incisors and makes that popping sound. When that happens, you could tell he wants to throw up. But he keeps going. He
can't.
He perseveres.
The brand
That
is strong.
him not being scared. Yeah, you gotta push through that.
right.
The brand is strong. So I'm 50-50.
So to answer your question, I think I'm in.
Okay.
I think I'm in.
I'm like
Liver King.
50-50 right now because there's certainly parts of his tenets that I can get behind and other parts that I think are a little too extreme. So I'm gonna do my research and I'll get back
Last
to you
thing that
guys.
we'll say about this. I knew that Cons was gonna like it because he's a football guy.
Yeah,
I
this
knew
guy
it.
is
Like, this is-
partly a meathead, and I love that about him.
You could probably take 80% of the things that come out of his mouth each sentence and put it on a football locker room, like by the fucking bench press or squat rack,
Mhm.
and people were like, "Yeah, that belongs here."
Yes, absolutely. He definitely has a place in a locker room.
What's up,
So
primals?
while that's going
What's
on,
up,
Just drank a
primals?
gallon of menstrual blood and chewed on dried elk skin after a simulated evening hunt in acid rain, just like our ancestors would in December. Now Liver King is going to have spicy diarrhea and sleep under some dirty laundry. Liver King out. Liver chaps. Liver chaps. Really.
yeah, that's what I need to be, Liver Chaps. So he's doing that. The Marine Corps and the Army, for sure, those two branches are going to have a bunch of little Liver Kings all over the place.
I can't
But
wait. I'm sorry. We're definitely gonna get some tweets or some texts in like 3-4 weeks. Like, hey guys, I know you guys were kind of joking about it, but I went deep on it and it makes a lot of sense.
Tell us about the Liver King.
Oh, I want to see the
reunion.
transition.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
there's somebody that has the emotional and mental fortitude to do this, send us your current picture, do it for a month, and we'll track it and see if it works or not. We'll have our own little experiment. These guys are, and ladies, because liver queens too.
Thank
They're
you.
out here doing this, but TBS is going the opposite way. They're not eating cow balls. They're looking for cherries and shit, right, Kate?
Absolutely. So pretty much, speaking of the Marine Corps and Liver King, they may have been watching that, someone at the top, because they're getting in on it now too. So they're doing foraging now. Nearly 20 years of war in the Middle East, Marines could be fairly certain they would be stocked on food, but whether that meant Burger King or the veggie omelet meal, going hungry was not a concern at all, even in Afghanistan, even for the grunts way out in the boonies. But
Now that's different. That news out of Afghanistan is horrible.
it's a nightmare. Yeah, that's a whole other. Google it. Really fucking terrible stuff right now. But the Marine Corps is preparing for a different fight, one that would see small teams of Marines spread out across the South Pacific facing so-called near-peer enemy capable of annihilating the Marine Corps logistics train. So if you're like on an island hopping campaign and the ships can't get to you, the planes can't get to you, and you're running out of food, what are you going to do? Even with an intact supply chain, small units of Marines could rely on stealth to survive, and a food resupply point could be a dead giveaway to positioning. So, like, sometimes it might not even be worth it to get the resupply if it's going to give your spot away. So they are doing, so far 800 Marines have taken the course. But it's a foraging course. Basically, it takes place in a single day. They get a 1-hour lecture, and then they spend 4 hours in practical application. At the in the field portion, Marines
Not nearly long enough.
Yeah,
you
listen
can't
to
learn
this.
shit in one day.
But wait,
No.
listen to this. They get an hour lecture, and then they go outside and butcher fish and pigs.
Okay.
After an hour.
I like that.
I like
sounds
that.
Fun.
You know, you can't just have classroom training. You got to
As
have
long as
real
you're
world
eating
training.
it. I don't want them butchering fish and pigs without eating them.
True, that's a waste.
You know, they're
And
not
you need to go hoof to tail,
Yeah,
like
hoof to
they're
tail.
like they're saying,
Right,
like
they
the
need to
old
be
fucking
popping
Liver King.
pig balls and flaps in their mouth and whatnot. Anyway, so far only entry-level officers have been exposed to the class, but something similar may be coming to the enlisted entry-level training pipeline. Good old-fashioned foraging class. I imagine if they had a huge enlisted foraging class, what a liability that would be. Because you know Marines are going to eat any berry they see, any leaf,
Oh, yeah.
any
I mean-
whatever.
For the right amount of money, Marines and soldiers will eat C4.
Absolutely.
No,
I've
I've
seen
eaten
it.
C4.
Yeah.
See?
Who hasn't? So I don't know. I feel like this
I
is
spray
a...
OCE on my pizza, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the book was Unbreakable with Lou Zamperini.
Oh, yeah.
Who was on that raft for
47 days.
I feel like it was longer than that or
I
something.
think it
but
was 47 days, but I could be
he
wrong. It was a while since I read it.
Literally, at one point, his only food was every now and then a seagull or something would land on his raft, and he would
And not just land, he would bait that. He would bait it.
Yeah, and he would literally like break the seagull's neck and just eat the entire thing. He
Yeah.
got lice from the seagulls like in his facial hair and stuff. Like that's what he had to fucking do, but he survived. Like he
His
survived.
story
Like,
is just
it's
so
crazy.
incredible. Because even after
Yeah,
the
taking little
raft-
fish guts or whatever, put it on there, and then using his wet like trousers to slap the seagull to kind of stun it, and then grab it and break its neck so he could eat it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And
He
he
is
didn't have he
unbelievable.
wasn't trained in any of that. It's just
No.
like your brain's like figures anything out to
That
survive.
primal ancestral instinct.
Mhm.
But I can see this being useful, but I also am like, what are we planning next if this is a thing?
Yeah,
Oh, fucking
I
A.
can see
We're
where your
gonna
head's
talk
going
about
with
that in
that.
round 5. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I do think it is useful training, but also I don't know that you want to spend too much time. You want to spend enough time that they can retain it and use it if they have to, because the likelihood that you would be in this situation, I think, is very small.
Yeah.
I think you got to go at least a week here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more
And
real world.
All of it is so dependent on where you're at too. Like
Yeah.
your foraging class that you're doing at fucking Quantico, Virginia, not exactly going to be applicable in Indonesia.
Sure.
Found some truffle mushrooms, guys. We'll put them on our
Right.
salad tonight.
But I
Happy
would love to do
loafers.
that. Honestly, I think I would take a class. I'm so interested in that. I've fallen down many rabbit holes that talk about people doing like urban foraging where you go through the city. Like there's spots in California where you can go make a whole meal just by what you find in the median.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people go in there. There's all kinds of like wild stuff that, like dandelions, for example, you
Oh.
can eat. There's all kinds of, there's people, look it up, urban foraging. Like it's fascinating what people have been able to learn and what's safe and what's not. There's so much food that's edible around us that we have
No
zero idea about.
Yeah.
Like I told you guys about the Brazilian blueberry tree that was behind my house. I had no idea that it was edible. And then I got that plant app and I was like, oh shit. Next thing you know, I'm eating some of those and the app was wrong and I had diarrhea. All right, let's move on to round number 3, which is about a commander getting fired, which is sad. We always hate when that happens, but what won't get fired is your dick if you have a Roman swipe. They are
Right.
They are clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, but they don't require a prescription. Roman continuous swipes through in a discreet, unmarked package directly to your door. They're super easy to use. Just take them things out, put it all over that big juicy hog of yours, and let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. Just go to getroman.com/0. You get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/0. No more of those counting backwards to 10 or counting how many ancestral beings that you fucked in order to stay. No,
No.
not that you fucked. You didn't fuck any ancestors.
No,
right?
you didn't. Mm-mm.
Nope. Maybe.
No
What
more
was
thinking
that?
about the Mets.
Would you rather give, and this goes to both of you, would you rather give Wilma or Barney Rubble's wife the jump?
Wilma. Wasn't she
Yeah, I
blonde?
think Wilma.
Yeah.
No, she's brunette.
Oh, yeah, true.
Short little skirt, thick little pear bottom.
I'm looking now. Yeah.
That wouldn't even need a Roman swipe, but if you do, go to getroman.com/0 to get 10% off your first order. Is that it? 10% off? No, it's $5 when you choose your first monthly plan. They all run together sometimes. All right, let's move on to round number 4. This one is a commander getting fired from the Air Force. What happened, Kate?
Yeah, so the Air Force relieved an officer of command who served separation paperwork to an airman in a mental health clinic for treatment after a suicide attempt, and also made one airman feel like a piece of shit for going through a medical evaluation board, and retaliated against another airman's spouse. She was on a tear. Major April Widman, the commander for the 317th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron at Dyess Air Force Base, was fired at 9 a.m. on December 2nd after the commander lost confidence in her ability to lead the squadron. Though the investigation is still ongoing, 2 airmen who served under her spoke with Task and Purpose about their experience under, so they used fake names. One, she declined to comment, but this person named CL said that she was very unfair and unethical to members going through medical treatments and to those who sought mental health care, which is a fucking huge problem. Mm-hmm. All the armed forces right now are trying to actually do the opposite of that.
Correct.
And get better at this. She's setting things back a little bit. Another airman said he experienced similar treatment to CL and said he was completely open with his leadership about mental health issues that he was going through in the fall of 2020 and spring of 2021. For example, he kept his supervisors aware of, like, here's what medication I'm taking, here's things I'm doing to treat my depression. However,
which is further than you're required to go. Your command has no right to know what type of medication you're on.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. None. But he was being open. However, the medication was not working for the airman, which led to him oversleeping during a duty day, and he was demoted from senior airman to airman first class as a result. I talked to my supervisor, and he said that was pretty extreme, the airman said of the demotion. The airman's mental health continued to deteriorate, and it's one of those things, the person's already down. Why are you kicking them? Why are you going to make it worse by demoting them now?
Especially and there needs to be a lot more information. I could see if, like, this was a pattern of misconduct, because although mental health issues go against it, like, you still can't just be like, oh, you have diagnosed depression, you can be late. Like, you still have a standard to uphold.
Yes.
And to demote somebody and then not follow up, like, we know you're having trouble, we know you just got demoted, we're going to keep extra close tabs on you. That wasn't the case. They then attempted suicide that March. He survived, thank God, and was checked into a mental health clinic in San Antonio, about a 4-hour drive from Dyess. I'm probably saying that wrong.
It's Dyess, you're right.
But the distance did not stop Widman and the assistant first sergeant from making the 4-hour drive to the hospital to serve the airmen their separation paperwork.
Kidding me?
Yeah, see, I think...
Holy fuck.
Jesus.
I think that they should be separated.
Yeah.
I don't think that this should be something that you lose command, like that you just lose command, you move on somewhere else. This should be automatic separation.
Yeah, we don't...
Because you don't have undue command influence whenever you're in the hospital. When you're in the hospital, the command should leave you the fuck alone, and you technically don't even follow under your command anymore whenever you go to one of those places. You check in. Like, when you go to a mental health treatment, that is your new command, because you don't leave until they say that you're good. So you're technically under their command.
And this person said they wasted a whole day and they ruined my treatment. I don't know why they had it out for me so bad. They made an 8-hour round trip. And as a commander, the first thing on your mind should be the well-being of your troops, not fucking whatever this move was.
Yeah,
if you wanted to separate, like, wait for the medical retirement will come. Like, if it's that severe where you need to be removed from service, allow them to go through the process of a medical retirement in order to get benefits that they have earned.
Yeah, but I think this just highlights the fact that she wasn't willing to do what you just described, Chaps. It just shows a toxicity within her leadership style that you can't just erase by removing them from command or moving them to a different post.
Something had to have happened behind the scenes.
There's something else going on here.
There's something personal.
Right. You don't make that drive.
That she wanted to act.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because then they talk about, there's all these big meme pages out there, and the Salty Crew Chief 2.0, it's an Instagram page really popular among Air Force maintainers, and they put up a post about her firing on the 3rd. They received more than 24 people reaching out to tell us about how she, the first shirt, and other senior enlisted leaders were abusing folks going through issues that required treatment, both for mental health and other medical. So this was a pattern that was happening over and over to other people in the unit going through similar things, that this person was acting this way. CL's experience was especially painful for him, considering how airmen are told from day one to be a good wingman, seek help if you need it, and trust their first sergeants and chain of command. But the system has been broken for a while. Careerism and cronyism are a cancer in the Air Force that is causing retention issues, he said. We see it in the aircrew community and several high-demand career fields like maintenance. People do not want to work for assholes. The problems are compounded by lack of effective prevention and intervention. After 20 years of war, you'd think the Air Force would have figured it out by now, they said. So
this whole idea is, I imagine now it is an incredibly difficult spot to be in if you want to train people for war. Like, legitimately difficult, because you have to balance what's going on in modern culture, including modern military culture, with depression, anxiety, and the suicide epidemic, while also trying to train a level of toughness and mental elasticity where you can go out and you can do the mission. Balancing those two and doing those appropriately at the same time is a very difficult task for leaders, but that's what you signed up for. Like, I've talked to several different active duty leaders who are like, look, I understand that mental health is a huge problem right now, but we also have people that are taking advantage of that and going out and not wanting to work and things like that. And that's something that's uncomfortable to talk about, even in the position of this show, where we have a louder voice in the military community and things like that, recognizing that those things can be an issue, but also you still have a responsibility to train for war. Incredibly difficult job for any leader.
You're right. No,
but you have a litany of what not to do. This is what not to do.
Yeah, this is what not to do. But you're right, Chaps, because one thing people in the military are great at is figuring things out, and they will, and they clearly already have, because you've had that conversation with some leadership, if they just figure out the right little buzzwords to say, just because if they want to sham out of something, people will take advantage of that. And I hate to admit that, and even before the whole, mental health epidemic was part of the conversation, this has been going on in the military forever, where people will always try to find ways to sham out of things.
But I think it's the same token of, oh, she's just going to get pregnant to get out of a deployment.
Yeah, exactly. That's another
those
example.
examples that you guys are talking about, you're saying it, which I already don't like, because I think it's such a tiny fraction, and the one story that comes out about it gets conflated, and then it gets like spread like that.
No,
so
yeah,
many
I
people.
agree with that too.
So I feel like I don't know. I don't think that's what you guys are saying is truly an issue, and I think those people that do that actually genuinely do have something going on. Then if they're doing that, there's a reason.
Right.
Maybe it's
and
not.
I would agree with
So
that. If you're at the point where you're saying my mental health is suffering because of my job in the military, it's probably not the best job for you to be in anymore.
Right,
anyways.
exactly. So I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand. And I think balancing mental health and preparing for war, like, it only builds readiness. Like, it only does help you prepare for war to take care of the mental health of your troops. Like, so I feel like I can see how it's difficult, and I can see how but like, I think they just need to keep figuring it out. And
yeah, they definitely do. And that's what I mean by, that's what I'm saying, that that's your job to figure out how to do it. But it isn't easy. Like, and it's never been easy to be a leader. Like, it's never been easy. But you have to figure out difficult tests. That's what you're tasked with, is figuring out different things and how to mold different types of personalities and perspectives, and the way something impacts cons impacts me completely different. It impacts Kate completely different. Cons might hear some news that really fucks him up for the whole day, and he can't get past it. But then the next day he's going to be fucking awesome. Where me, you might tell me the same exact news. I might not look as visually upset about it, but it's going to reduce me because I'm not as sharp as I normally can. So then I'm going to be at like 60% of my capability, maybe for a week or two. Yeah. And you have that all throughout every single platoon, and figuring out how to mesh everybody and work them together. That's the responsibility of the leader, and they just got to do it. And it's not the way that this major did it.
Right. And what's
there was
so
other
important,
stories I left out, like several other stories.
I'm sure,
So.
What's so important about leadership at this level too is you are responsible for not just overseeing the entire company, troop, battalion, whatever. You're in charge of grooming and coaching and mentoring those other leaders, because I would just say it, there are people put in positions that at the age they're put in, you're just not mature enough necessarily a lot of times to figure out these sorts of situations on your own. So you need to be able to look to that captain, to that major, to that lieutenant colonel for that guidance.
Especially major. Like captain's still going to be like, you can be a young captain. Right. Major, you've been around the block for a bit.
Exactly. So that's why this is troubling, because then it's going to just like trickle down to the other leaders within this unit.
I just hope they learn something from it, because looking back, even as a small unit leader, like as an enlisted person, there's like 3 pretty good examples I can think of where I fucked up as a leader. Small beans, but like where I definitely didn't. What I did, I thought was right at the time, but looking now, like it clearly was not the right or helpful thing to do.
Yeah.
And I have like regrets, things that I very much regret. And I'm like,
Absolutely
oh God, that was an ugly thing to do. And I wish I hadn't done that. So hopefully people learn.
And we're seeing a lot of that for the next round on the border too, of people hopefully learning. This is an absolute shit show. From the Army Times is the one who put it out, and they did a fantastic job putting this all together.
Yeah.
It's extensive and it is damning the way things are going right now. Davis Winke is the one who wrote this. Kate, what happened on the border?
So I tried to chop it down as much as I could. On the evening of September 10th, a soldier deployed to the U.S.-Mexico border slid a manifesto under each door in his brigade headquarters and then slipped away into the night. The frustrated Army National Guardsmen assigned to the 110th Maneuver Enhancement Brigade had seen enough. 3 soldiers had died in 3 months, the most recent in an alleged DUI just 5 days earlier, and more than a dozen troops from the mission had been arrested or confined for drugs, sexual assault, and manslaughter. This was part of the note: "Someone please wave the white flag and send us all home. I would like to jump off a bridge headfirst into a pile of rocks after seeing the good old boy system and fucked up leadership I have witnessed here." The unit never found the author. The letter was provided to the Army Times by another anonymous soldier who, like others for this article, spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss equipping, staffing, and misconduct issues plaguing the border mission. I didn't include them all. A lot of these were anonymous and from every level. Enlisted and higher up officer ranks, too, were speaking out, being like, yeah, this is
all the way to congressmen.
All the way to Congress people. For much of 2021, more than 4,000 Guard personnel from 20 different states helped monitor the border alongside Customs and Border Patrol. The majority were part of Task Force Phoenix, a combo of 34 different Guard units randomly stitched together with no prior relationships, complicating an already like vague mission, sort of like an already unclear fully why are we here.
That's important. I really want to highlight that. You can't just because we're all soldiers, you can't just put random groups of people together and expect them to just mesh and be like, oh, well, here's the mission, here are the TTPs, so just execute. And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Not when everything's about flow.
Right.
And this type of operation.
And again, the mission, when there's not a clear mission, it was kind of the same thing in Afghanistan where we're like, what are we doing here? It affects morale. It's like, so the task force left soldiers at isolated observation posts for hours on end without night vision goggles. They stared into the darkness and fell asleep on the job while awaiting shipments of equipment for months. And
if there's no moon, that border is dark. It's not like you're going into the city. It is dark if there's no moon out.
They only assisted in 1 in every 5 apprehensions. Legal restrictions of the Guardsmen left them with little more than watching as a mission. So they're just like out there in the boonies watching people do this stuff. The Army Times interviewed 7 Guard troops involved and obtained hundreds of pages of documents and audio tapes, including official incident reports and planning the documents. Among the Army Times findings: when troops were not on duty, most were at hotels.
Also, sorry, Kate, this one proves that the Army Times is not in bed with the Army, by the way.
Yeah.
Because that was always a thing, like, oh, the Marine Times is doing the bidding of the Marine Corps. Clearly, that's not what's happening in this article.
Yeah, not at all. When troops weren't on duty, most were put in hotels in remote locations where alcohol and drug abuse became so widespread that senior leaders issued breathalyzers and instituted alcohol restrictions that tightened as the misconduct incidents piled up. If you leave troops bored in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of alcohol, you're fucked.
And giving a breathalyzer is the worst idea imaginable.
Because
then you're just like, oh, I want to see what I can get.
Yeah.
What'd you blow?
During this time,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
During this time, leaders initiated more than 1,200 legal actions, including NJPs, property loss investigations, Army Regulation 1516 investigations, and more. That's nearly one legal action for every 3 soldiers. At least 16 soldiers from the mission were arrested or confined on charges including drugs, sexual assault,
It's like
and
the old
manslaughter.
Panama City slogan, come on vacation, leave on probation.
Yeah, absolutely. During the same time period, only 3 soldiers in all of Kuwait, a comparable deployment with more soldiers, were arraigned. So,
Well, to be fair, Kuwait's dry.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no booze in Kuwait.
yeah,
That's a big difference.
1,200 at the border, 3 in Kuwait during the same time span with more soldiers in Kuwait.
Nuts.
Another thing, troops at the border had more than 3 times as many car accidents over the past year. At least 500 incidents,
Wow.
totaling more than $630,000 in damages. Nailed that
I
number
was just going to
reading.
say, good for you.
Imagine being that master sergeant getting another phone call. Hey,
Ah,
the specialist got in a wreck. Motherfucking.
which one was it this time?
And
Jesus.
during these crashes, 147 illegal substance seizures. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very
Way to go.
cool. One cavalry troop from Louisiana was temporarily disbanded due to misconduct and command climate issues. That's an extremely rare occurrence. A 1,000-soldier battalion-level task force based in McAllen, Texas, had 3 soldiers die during the border deployment. For comparison, only 3 guard troops died overseas in 2021 out of tens of thousands. So, I mean, this is life or death. Like, people are dying because of the chaos, the fucking shit show that this mission is. That's fucking terrible. Perhaps nowhere were the issues more evident than in McAllen, where nearly 2 battalions worth of troops lived, led by a single battalion command team that required additional help and manpower. We are literally the biggest threat to ourselves down here, said one staff officer. Like, the biggest danger for those troops is
themselves.
being troops down there.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking terrible. The bulk of the Title 10 troops on the border have been assigned to man 24-hour lookout sites where soldiers watch for migrants crossing the border, and then they see it. There's nothing they can do. They see it. They call Border Patrol. Some of the sites have new thermal camera trucks, but most consist of 2 soldiers sitting in the front of a borrowed truck looking through binoculars.
That's
it.
such a waste of time.
In the middle of nowhere. This included a March incident when a Fox News crew that was going around doing a story found 2 troops passed out deep asleep in a CBP truck while 6 migrants were patiently waiting to be arrested nearby.
This guy, Connor, that did it, Connor Ryan,
Mhm.
is the reporter that posted the picture of the troops sleeping.
Yeah.
Possibly the biggest buddy fucker move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He posted
Like,
the photo
what?
that went viral, and it's
This guy needs a soap party. Get him up, get him out of the truck.
Yeah,
give
maybe
him
just
an
go
extra
knock
shift
on
at
that window and be
Firewatch.
like, hey, wake up.
yeah.
Hey there, devil dog, wake up. There's a couple different things you could do. Posting them out there on social media. That's a blue falcon.
That's a blue
Like,
falcon
just
if I ever saw one.
Yep.
ugh, unbecoming.
Obviously, this report has made its way to Congress, where they're all pretending to care about it. One person I do believe who cares
I
about
do
it.
think Ruben Gallegos cares.
Yes, I think he is a representative from Arizona and a troop veteran himself. He says, if we want to secure the border...
Enlisted Marine.
Yeah. If we want to secure the border, 100 customs officers is better than 100 National Guardsmen. It feels warm and fuzzy to say we have guys with camouflage down here at the border, but it's just politicians playing with people's emotions. The troops don't actually end up being effective, and you're eroding our military capability for real threats. He's saying it's a dog and pony show. You're taking thousands of troops away from anything that's actually relevant that matters.
This is the U.S. version of that Intercept article.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing these type of things when they should not be.
And all you're doing is basically taking guardsmen away from their families and people away from training. You're screwing with readiness. You're screwing with morale. We could not agree more.
Mm-hmm.
What an absolute shit show.
And I mean,
And I
what
found
else?
some of that information about the millions that I talked about.
Yeah.
This is from the Washington Post. U.S. authorities detained more than 1.7 million migrants along the Mexican border during 2021 fiscal year. So that goes from October 2020 to the end of September of 2021. And that's 2 presidencies. So people that are going to be like, oh, look at Biden. It's both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. And that is what we need to start doing more in America, is being like, both of these parties are fucked up beyond recognition.
Yeah.
Both of them. And so, sure, there's some bigger issues that are coming out, like the insurrection was very bad. But you have, both parties have to do better, and President Biden is not doing what he said he was going to do on the border either.
No,
Mhm.
doing a lot of the same, just kind of
Same
adopting
policy.
the same
Yeah.
policies.
And that's the same exact thing that happened when, Obama's going to be different from Bush. He wasn't. He was not different than Bush as far as foreign policy goes, and either was Trump from Obama. They're essentially the same.
Right. And I mean, when we look at this laundry list of terrible things that are happening to our troops that are serving in this mission, what else needs to happen before someone steps in, maybe we shouldn't be doing this anymore? Like, are they going to continue to allow troops to get in trouble, troops to get harmed, potentially harm other people? Obviously, we've seen some deaths. What else needs to happen for that to set off some alarms?
Doing a smart bipartisan policy change for things at the border is the only thing that will make a difference, and that will just not happen because instead they both sides get clout off dog and pony show shit like this.
And what can you do realistically when you have a border that's the size of the Mexican-American border? What can you really do? I mean, even if you had, like, let's say for some stupid reason you even have a wall, do you think people can't climb over a wall,
get under it,
or the tunnels that go under it, or like around it, or
they're going to figure it out? Like, what do you do? There is no real answer.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, it's a treat.
It is a treat. Let's move on to round number 5. What do we got for round 5? Oh, this one's another positive story. This one is about Ukraine and possible war. So round number 5, this one comes to us from the Associated Press from Moscow.
U.S.
President. Yes.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
You may.
When you say Biden's putting his big boy pants on, if there was a physical, what is your version of big boy pants?
Dungarees.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
I don't know why I thought that was the first thing that came to mind.
Dickies that are ripped and have different colored paints on them.
Yeah.
And one of those little things to put a hammer on, like carpenter pants.
Carpenter pants.
Carpenter loop, yeah.
And definitely a belt, but it's got to be real leather.
Yeah.
And women can wear
I think you might even go suspenders. Or like one of those belts that's like half belt, half back brace.
Oh, big girl pants are thick sweatpants with pockets and drawstring and good elastic on the ankles.
Yep.
Anyway,
and depends
carry on.
inside.
Yes, absolutely.
Like a diaper.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
I want to go back to at another time, talk more about that whole rub your period coochie in the grass. I want to talk about that more.
Connecting
not
with
not now. Yeah, but at some point, that's something we need to dive into.
Yeah, free bleeding.
Oh, okay.
Exactly right. So President Biden said Wednesday that he warned Russian President Vladimir Putin about that Moscow will face severe economic pain if it tries to attack Ukraine, but promised prospective talks to address Russia's concern about NATO's expansion. Biden said that he was very straightforward with Putin during their call on Tuesday, warning the Russian leader that he would pay a heavy price if he invades Ukraine. There was no mince words, Biden said at the White House before departing for Kansas City. It was polite, but I made it clear. If in fact he invades Ukraine, there will be severe consequences, economic consequences like you've never seen. I am absolutely confident he got the message. Asked by reporters if he ruled out U.S. troops on the ground to stop Russia, Biden said that's not on the table, saying that a U.S. obligation to protect NATO allies if they come under attack doesn't extend to Ukraine, which is not in the Atlantic Military Alliance. So, I mean, I don't understand. Like, the consequences are going to be extreme. Military? Oh, absolutely not. Like, look, they're not getting fucking protected by us, but the consequences will be extreme. A little both sides of your mouth there. The idea that the United States is going to unilaterally use force to confront Russia for invading Ukraine is not in the cards now. We hope by Friday we're going to be able to announce to you that we're having meetings at a higher level, not just with us, but at least four of our major NATO allies and Russia to discuss the future of Russia's concern relative to NATO writ large and whether or not we could work out any accommodations as it relates to bringing down the temperature. It's gotten so bad in Ukraine that the official Ukraine Instagram account is posting memes about Russia being on their border.
Get out.
They're tired of it. They got
actual
70,000
memes.
troops just hanging out.
Huh.
And tons of satellite images are showing like Russia is poised to strike and just take it over, and they call it Little Russia, and they feel like it's already kind of theirs anyway. And it's like a cat toying with a mouse that it knows, like, I could kill you if I want. I could take you if I wanted.
That's a great way to put it. Putin might be the world's largest I'm not touching you. Yeah. I'm not touching you.
Yeah.
I'm not touching you guy on the planet.
Super annoying. But this never works. This is like, Pat, you keep leaving the toilet seat up. No more hand
here you
jibbers.
go. Here you go.
No more hand jibbers. And guess what?
Biden's got
doesn't phase him.
Biden's got to take a book out of Alex's playbook, start Venmoing Ukraine for $5 every time he sees the toilet seat up. Then he'll get the message.
What we got to do is send a cadre of American women over there secretly to period all over the Russian ground.
Yeah.
Just to really
Claim it
ground
as
Russia
ours.
again.
But, you know, overall, you know.
Bring their chakras back to a more peaceful place.
He definitely was talking out of both sides of his mouth, but I guess it was a little refreshing to hear that he said, like, no, we're not going to just send a bunch of troops over there because I don't want that right now. I don't want that for our military.
And he also shots fired at Obama. He said it's not going to go the way that it went last time, which in Kiev, that's what happened with Obama. They had their red line and he stepped over it, and Obama was like, I'm fucking leaving anyway.
Yeah, just kidding.
JK.
Just goofing. You got me. I was fucking around. I didn't mean it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ahead of Christmas, no doubt. Come on, man.
All right, let's move into some save rounds and alibis. Cons, we'll start with you.
Can I go last?
Yep. Kate.
Okay. Couple of Buzzkill Katie here. Not Buzzkill
No,
Katie.
these are important.
But they're very important, but more serious rounds for me. I wish I hadn't said Buzzkill Katie because
It's okay. Go ahead.
Being
Just
weird.
keep talking.
Okay. First of all, I saw a story from Camp Pendleton. You know, the I-5 highway, this huge highway goes through Camp Pendleton. And there's accidents on it and stuff all the time. And this young Marine, 20 years old, Lance Corporal Alberto Lucio, age 20, sees these motorists, gets out of his vehicle to help them, and he is killed doing so. To me, this just shows the kind of people that Marines are and embodies the best of the Marine Corps. You see people who need help, you get out and you help them, and it's really a terrible tragedy. Also, the Navy SEAL who died in a Virginia hospital on Tuesday, it was the SEAL Team 8 commander, Brian Bourgeois. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it shows that he was doing a fast rope training evolution when an accident happened, but that has got to be, the commander of SEAL Team 8. It's somebody who's really served this country honorably. And then finally... Wait,
real quickly about him. So he was actually a Navy football player.
Yeah.
So at the game on Saturday, they're going to run out with the SEAL Team 8 flag. There's going to be a number 13 home blue jersey featuring the SEAL Team 8 patch that's going to be on the sideline.
Oh, wow.
And two players will be wearing SEAL Team 8 patches on their uniforms.
Wow. Is it normal for them to identify what SEAL team they're in? I can't remember. I was trying to think back if this was the first time I've seen like official Navy accounts like recognize what SEAL team somebody was in. Because like even with like Rob O'Neill and all that, they try to keep which SEAL team did what like under wraps, like SEAL Team 6 or SEAL Team 5. I hadn't seen them say SEAL Team 8.
I genuinely, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I don't know.
It's kind of all conflated in recent years with how many stories we've heard.
And then finally,
but from what I've heard, this dude was not only a great SEAL, but just a great person too.
Yeah. Very sad.
And then, as we know, Alwyn Cash, he died in 2005 after the Bradley was on fire, and he went in time and time and time again to rescue his soldiers. And the pain of that, and he just kept going and going. And
burned over 70% of his body.
Yeah, he will posthumously receive the Medal of Honor. Finally, people have been pushing for this for so long. I don't know why it took so long. I genuinely don't understand why it took so long because everybody.
It was approved. Like they've been trying to get it approved for years, and then it's been approved twice.
Yeah,
and they just didn't do it. I don't even know why it took Biden this long. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Trump didn't do it whenever it was initially approved. It's just strange that it took that long for somebody who very clearly deserves it.
Yeah, and I'm looking for the tweet right now really quickly. Oh, so Dan Lamoth, he talked to Alwyn Cash's sister, Kennesaw Cash White, and after the news broke, and she said, "I couldn't be happier. It means that all this time I've been right. My baby brother will go down in history. It means a poor boy from Oviedo did it right." And I think for the family, that's incredible. Also, Sergeant First Class Earl Plumley, a Green Beret who received the Silver Star in 2015, and Sergeant First Class Christopher Solis, an Army Ranger who was killed in Afghanistan in 2018. They will also be receiving the Medal of Honor, but way overdue. People have been, there's like this collective sigh of release of like finally across the military when that news came out about Alwyn Cash. So those are my saved rounds. Really looking forward to the Army-Navy game. Genuinely. I love it. I can't wait to see people who listen to the show. I love running into them, and so hopefully that happens a ton. And I just am excited to hang out with you guys too. I'm excited that Chaps is coming up, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Friday we'll be at Off the Wagon, New York City.
We're going to be
4 o'clock.
Doing a primal tailgate at the game.
Tailgate at the game.
All raw meats.
Yes.
All animal balls.
So
nothing
bring
but
100 hungry bells. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
So we'll see you there.
Chaps?
Yeah, I'm excited about going up there too. There's not a whole lot that I have to share, so I'll just turn it over to you, Cons.
So, just indulge me. I know you guys, bust my chops about West Point and Army football and all that, but this year, yeah,
No.
So people always ask like, oh, what does the game mean? And a lot of times I say a lot of the same things each year. But I was asked that question on Monday, and right after I was asked the question, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. So, December 2021, we're 20-year anniversary of 9/11, and I think in the history of war, you can't always just point to one singular event that kind of set everything off. Mm-hmm. But I think for the last 20 years in Afghanistan and Iraq, you can really all point it all back to 9/11. You can trace the 20 years that we've been dealing with everything back to 9/11. And in those last 20 years, many, many Army football players and Navy football players have gone and served honorably, and some of whom paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I think that for the majority of us, I'll say very honestly, I don't think the majority of us would have found ourselves in the military if it were not for Army football or Navy football. We would not have made our way into the military, but we did, and we were proud to do so. And I think back, and you look at the last 20 years and everything that has happened, and especially in the last year, leaving Afghanistan, I think a lot of guys, and we've talked about it, have searched for some closure. So now, 20 years later, at MetLife, miles from ground zero, maybe that'll be this anniversary will be that closure that some of these guys have been searching for. So I think it will be a special day. And I'm sorry to be getting choked up like this, but it really is, something I'm very proud of. And a lot of these guys, all of us are very proud of it. And I just, I think it'll be a very big day for a lot of people. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, pretty apt location this year, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to poke fun at your Burberry scarf now because of that. So.
Yeah, now I feel bad. I can't make fun of it this week. You son of a bitch, Connors.
But I think that's beautifully said. Beautifully said. And I think it is going to be really
and you're
special.
right. There is a ton of people who did amazing things from that game, and we've met a lot of them, and I'm looking forward to continuing that tradition. And like Dave and Dan said on their podcast, on the Pick'em podcast today, that it's a special game to be a part of. It's a special game because everybody there is willing to serve and sacrifice and do things that most of the population isn't. And it's still that way today, and it'll still be that way in 50 years, which makes the game super special and why it'll always be special. But that being said, you got to feel bad a little bit for the Air Force. Like the Air Force,
right?
We do the same shit. And we gotta play these teams in like fucking October when nobody gives a damn.
Different vibe, but still.
For Air Force Academy.
You guys are great.
You adorable little babies.
Yeah.
Wait till the space. I want to see what the Space Force team looks like.
That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting.
They should let the Space Force and Marines combine for a team and play somebody.
Yeah.
We should give it a go.
All right.
I think that'd be cool.
I'm down.
Yeah. All right.
All right. It's on the retreat.